Hip hop. I was a little kid in the 70s, and I don't know if anyone ever told me what hip hop was, but obviously it was around in New York. I grew up in Queens, and already there was this scene that was happening where, as a little kid, I was watching it happen, where there was MCing, rhyming, dancing, art, and DJing was starting to get really, really big. So hip-hop culture in New York was a necessity. It was born from that city. It came from the Bronx. And back in the day, it was all about inclusion and celebration. It had nothing to do with exclusivity. Everyone was into it because it didn't matter where you were from, what borough you were from, or how rich or poor you were. When it all came down to it, if you went to a party, and I remember the parties that my parents would go to and bring me along to, it was always a celebration. We were always grooving to that kind of music, liking the dance. It was all inclusive. And that, to me, is my memory of hip hop. And, you know, back in that day, it was the pioneers. It was, you know, Grandmaster Flash, Kool Herc, Afrika Bambaataa, and people like that had a lot to say. You know, they were very politically minded, and they spoke about their experiences in the ghetto. That's where a lot of them came from. And it was very meaningful stuff, but at the same time, it was very positive stuff. They weren't just talking about how poor they were. They weren't just talking about how poor their lives were. They were saying, this is where we're coming from, but this is what we're all about. And a lot of them tried to use that culture, that hip-hop culture, to get themselves out of that situation, which, you know, is the power of hip-hop. And I think today, you know, what we're running into is we're starting to get into, you know, very commercial rap. In other words, there are artists out there now that are heavily produced, and the things that they're talking about may not be as poignant as some of those early artists. And unfortunately, what we have today as commercial rap is getting ganged into what people consider hip-hop. It's not necessarily true. So the fact that Frank was approached to lead a committee to put together this urban art show, which is something that he and Denny have been working on for a couple of years, and this will be truly the third annual urban art show. The fact that the town came to them and said, can you please represent this? We need hip-hop. We need to see what graffiti looks like. Bring some break dancers down. Bring some double Dutch dancers down. Let's have a DJ battle. Let's get some MCs performing. Is a massive step in, I think, the right direction. So what we're hoping is that how this all turns out is it'll open people's eyes to something that maybe they misunderstood from the very beginning. And when it's all said and done, everyone's going to see some beautiful art. Everyone's going to watch some fantastic dynamic dancing. People are going to see some DJs with real skill, and people will just learn to celebrate as people. And the fact that this is a hip-hop show, an urban art show, means nothing other than it can be a lot of fun if people decide that that's what it's going to be. And if it's the guys at Muse that are producing it, then it's a wrap. That's what it is.